Hello, I'm Dr. Jane. I'm a psychologist. This is Knowing Narcissism. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about what it's like to be the child of a narcissistic parent, the adult child of a narcissistic parent. It doesn't have to be adults. It could be that you're in your teenage years or even in your formative years and you may have come across this video. So grab yourself a tea or a coffee and come and join me. Now, the first thing that all children of narcissistic parents is they tend to be people pleasers. They have grown up in the environment that it is conditional. The attention from your narcissistic parent was completely conditional on what you did. And narcissistic parents will often think about their children as being reflections of them. So, of course, you've got to get all the A grades. Of course, you've got to be the best at your sport or whatever it is that you're doing, because you are an extension of them. They weren't able to do it themselves for whatever reason, probably just lack of ability rather than lack of opportunity. But they then put that all onto you, and you are trying to do something to please them. It is a survival instinct, especially from really, really young children, that they want to please their parents, because if I please you, then I get to survive. And that, from a really early age, completely gets skewed by the narcissist into having their needs met, the narcissist's parents' needs met, which is, oh, little, Susie's done brilliantly at school, little Johnny's, in the first team for, whatever the sport that he's in. And doesn't that reflect well on me? They will have no boundaries or lack of boundaries or poor boundaries. Again, this would have come from the your parents, that they can just expect so much from you, and you will give it to them to the best of your abilities because it then pleases them. But then you go into your adult life having poor or no boundaries that then other people come along and take advantage of because you're used to that being done. So please be very conscious of the fact that you have poor or limited boundaries and what you can do about that. Start practicing it. It's a bit like going to the gym and working on a certain group of muscles or something. Working on your boundaries is exactly the same thing, saying no. And often the first no, the most useful no, is to the narcissistic parent when they expect you to drop everything and travel 500 miles to be by their side to pick out the latest wallpaper they want or something, because I've heard that happen. Then you say no to that and you say, I can't do that. And often your useful tactic there is to put somebody else in front of you. Yeah, I can't do that because my wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, we can't do that because we've got other plans. What do you mean you've got other plans? I should be your priority. I was your priority. You're not that lovely, sweet child that you used to be. That will all come out at you. And what did I do for you? Oh, my goodness me, what I had to endure to give you the education that you wanted, what I had to go through to, give you life. Sometimes that has been thrown at people. So please be very aware of what the narcissist will throw at you to get them to do, to manipulate you to do what they want you to do and they expect you to do because they are your parents. So watch out for your lack and poor boundaries. If I could ask you to like, subscribe and click the notification button, please, that's great, because it just gets videos like this out to more people. Thanks. You have low self-esteem and self-worth because, again, remember that it was all conditional. Your self-esteem is conditional. Actually, here's the thing. Go to the mirror right now and just say, actually, I'm okay. I'm not brilliant. I'm not marvellous. I'm not amazing. I'm okay. We'll build up to brilliant, marvellous and amazing if we can. But just, I'm okay, because you are, regardless of what your parent may say to you or make you believe, or your siblings or grandparents or whatever, but, particularly parents in this case, and sometimes they're enabled by siblings, grandparents. You are okay. You are a good, decent and honest person. And just remember that, not the person that the narcissist wants you to be. You probably have a poor relationship history and maybe a history of codependence. And codependence is where, you live and breathe that other person. They, and if you'll probably be in relationships with mother Mark II or dad Mark II, because that's what you're used to. But that isn't a good and healthy relationship for anybody, least of all you. So when you get into relationships, it's really important that you just take that little step back, take that time, don't rush into it, don't kind of be love bombed, don't be kind of bamboozled into just believing this person is going to be okay for you because they've kind of said they are, and they're making you feel a certain way at that moment, but you've probably got a history of poor relationships. And, get into a nice relationship. And lots of people with narcissistic parents do end up in really solid, supportive relationships. And everybody deserves that. So that's really, really important. You probably are holding a lot of anger and resentment towards your parent. That's okay. Here's the thing. That is really okay. Recognize it. Do the archetypal writing a letter or the empty chair technique, if that's helpful, where you just tell them really what you think about it. People write these letters, they put them away, or they burn them, or they rip them up, or they do something with them. But it's getting it out of here onto something else. So you're allowed to be angry and resentful towards what happened to you and what potentially keeps happening to you with your narcissistic parent now. But recognize it, and then you can do something about it in a healthy and sometimes constructive way. So just, know that it's there. Don't kind of suppress it. And all nice girls and boys don't get angry, and they do exactly what they're meant to do because that's what mummy and daddy said, and they patted them on the head when they were nice boys. Actually, we are made up of many complicated and fascinating and interesting facets, and not being good all the time to please a narcissistic parent is not one of them. And one of the other things that people that have had narcissistic parents will often talk about is they have real difficulty in expressing their needs and their wants and their emotions because, again, they would have been shut down the moment that they were touched on as they were growing up. Your needs are not as important as mine, the narcissistic parent would have probably blatantly said, so forget about them. I'm the important one here. So again, just be honest with those. Just think about how you're feeling. Check in with yourself. I say this to a lot of people that I do therapy with. When they've got difficulty, just check in with yourself. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling that? If it's a little bit negative or a little bit skewed or anything, why am I feeling that? And just be kind to yourself. Be your own therapist. Remember, ultimately, the children of narcissistic parents have been traumatized. And we use the term trauma sometimes a little bit overused these days, but being brought up in that kind of household, that environment, is traumatic. And remember that. And it might be something that you need to get some professional help for. So look out there. There's always help. Always say to people, if you can't find or can't access actual professional help from a mental health specialist, then just look online. There is absolutely tons out there. You don't have to join in, but you can just observe. And that can be really, really useful because often, one of the things, again, from narcissistic parents is that they will tell you that actually you're the only person that feels like this, especially if there's a sibling. Look at your sibling. They're fine. They've got on with life. They haven't been, they're not namby-pamby crying and sort of like feeling sorry for themselves all the time because they would have treated you differently, and they love nothing more than siblings to do comparisons against and to kind of create conflict between. So it's really kind of important that you look at the whole dynamic of the family when we're talking about narcissistic parents and the damage that they the damage that they have done to you and what you can do about it, because there is stuff you can do about it. I hope you found this useful. Don't forget, plenty more join me for a cup of tea and coffees. Just, have a look below. If I could ask you to like, subscribe, click the notification bell, that's brilliant because it just gets YouTube videos like this out to more people. And the more people that know about this stuff, the better it is for them. Until next time, do take care.